CAUSENETIC family.
And welcome to the CAUSENETIC podcast.
Supported by the YMCA of Metropolitan Dallas.
CAUSENETIC means being the person or thing that gives rise to a phenomenon that is dynamic or energizing.
We're tackling topics and telling the truth.
I'm Keith Vinson.
And I'm Rodrigo Ross.
And so today, the topic up on hand is...
What is the topic on hand today?
There is no I in team.
Sir, there is no I in team, sir.
There's not, but Kobe Bryant said the show is an ME.
Well, that part. Which, I think feeds nicely into the topic today, huh?
Yeah, so we're going to talk about, so last night was the NBA draft.
Sure.
And I'm sure everybody out there, who's listening, they know who their number one pick was.
Right.
And so all these great athletes from literally all over the world, that, their dream has come true.
Right. NBA to make it, because the stats don't lie. Like, for all of the young people, I never want to discourage them, but I do want them to be realistic about the propensity for them to go from what we see in our gyms at the Y to the NBA, and the numbers are staggering.
Well, just think, there was some, I think in North Texas, we had like 6 guys to go in the first round, if I'm not mistaken.
Right.
6 guys.
But over the course of all those years playing youth sports and AAU sports and the YMCA and rec league, you probably had hundreds of thousands. Who play basketball, and that's just in North Texas.
Yes.
That ain't even across the country, across the globe.
Correct.
We got 6.
And so
Jay-Z said it.
What did he say?
Me. Men lie, women lie, numbers don't lie.
Yeah,
right?
And the only way that you can be in the draft lottery to be able to get selected, is that you gotta have the numbers.
You gotta have the numbers. You gotta have that skill set. You gotta outshine all of those other hundreds of thousands. Not to say it can't be done, because we have an NBA full of amazingly talented folks who are doing it, who have done it.
Yes.
It can be done.
Yes.
However, just, to level set and give people some real level focus. It is really, really, really hard. And the game is definitely changing.
Game is changing.
The game is changing. The landscape is changing. The game is changing.
And so when we talk about the game changing, landscape changing, and we talk about our topic with this, there's no I.
No I.
I meaning individual.
Right.
In team.
In team.
And so think about this. When I was listening to this commentator talk about the NBA. So the last 5 NBA MVPs have all been from international.
Wow. Other countries.
From other countries.
Sure.
And so they talked about how the game is played in the States, which is more on this one-on-one basis.
Right. Whereby individual focus.
Right.
Yeah.
Whereas when you talk about international ball, it is definitely much more team focused.
Sure.
And so these individuals come over here and they get drafted, and they're able to perform at this high level because they really know the fundamentals and the basics.
Of a team sport, right? They integrate.
Right. Oh. They have this ability to get theirs and also make sure others get theirs also. Fascinating. So when I think about the Joker who got the MVP this year for the NBA Finals, is that this man, he's a center and averaged 10 assists a game. So yes, he had his I believe it was 30 that he was averaging for points. But he also make sure the others got theirs as well. And the man just was phenomenal. I mean,
a well-rounded game.
Yeah,
it's not just only about me, but the team is better because I'm on it.
Right.
Which can definitely translate into some workplace ideology.
Hello.
Right?
Come on now. Come on.
We're going to stay on this sports thing.
Yeah.
The team is absolutely better, even when he does stuff that individually kind of raises his profile.
And when you think of youth sports and what people put into it, it's amazing.
They have to tell me this is preaching to the choir.
They say the average amount of money that's put into youth sports for a family is $16,000 a year.
It's more. I promise it's more. As a parent of athletes, I feel like it's more. Like I feel like there are some residual costs that they're not calculating into that. I mean, when you have kids who are playing sports, particularly if they are playing on that elite level because they're looking to go to college or play semi-pro or pro, you're talking about all the travel expenses. And if you have other children and you have to take them with you when they travel, or when you go to travel and you have to buy the food and the lodging and I promise over the lifespan of an athlete, it's more than $16,000.
No, 16,000 a year.
I'm sure.
So 16 times whatever number of years. Like that is
yes, and over the lifespan of how long your kids make.
I mean, but some parents, I think you make a decision when you do that. In my opinion, is that are you going to invest? What's the way that you're going to invest in your child in order to get their education? And athletics can be one of those routes. Is that I'm going to pour into you how to be successful on the basketball court. I'm going to get you the best personal trainer and whatever else you want to add on to that, so that individual can get a scholarship.
Sure.
And so part of that is that when you do that math, if you say $16,000 times X amount of years, does that at least equate to a full scholarship? Now you have receipts.
Yes, indeed.
You have receipts.
Yeah, we paid for college. We just took a different payment plan route.
Right.
Right. And and also it was definitely a good return on investment, because thankfully my children did move to the point and they were able to go to college playing sports, full ride scholarships. But even in that time, like the friendships that they made with the other young people that were playing sports endures till today.
Yeah.
I mean, my son had me cracking up the other day talking about how he was talking and they had this chat going with a couple of his friends that he made playing basketball when they were like in the 6th grade. And they were terrible. But you couldn't tell them babies back then. They thought they were just, and when they came through with their fresh uniforms that was too big and was baggy.
Right.
Oh, but he is still very much connected with those young people. And then all along. So, but it is an investment. And to see that the game is changing, right? And that the way we approach it and looking at it from that perspective. Because another thing is that my son had the opportunity to make lots of different friends because the teams were always changing. Like the team never stayed together and moved along. And so in that regard, most of the training and the development he got was definitely from the I perspective, like me personally.
Right.
But there is so much that is happening in the game now that I think should make us question whether that's the right approach. And more importantly, as organizations, as a YMCA, how do we tailor or how do we do youth sports different? Like what should we be considering when we're doing youth sports to help prepare these young athletes for the youth sports environment and feel of today, not the ones that when we first started with a peach basket.
Right. Yes. Yeah. I mean, research is showing right now, though, that 50% of kids, they're quitting by the age of 11.
I can believe that. It's a lot of stress. It's high stress. We did a podcast before when we were talking about people putting their young kids into these really intense sports programs that focus on one sport, and you get these injuries and you get kids who are burnt out way sooner. And you get these young people who aren't really developing in total athletically because they're laser focusing on one thing. And I can see where that could be a lot for an 11-year-old.
Yeah, I know. So for me, I played 3 sports in high school. So football, basketball, and track. And that was more encouraged to play back then. Whereas today, I mean, we're getting very specialized with these young people. And so we're seeing them, spark at a young age in a particular sport, or either we just saying, look, you can't do it all, just pick one. And, I get it.
Yeah. Competition, right? Like, you don't want your child to miss out on something by playing all these different things, while the kids who focus only on this with the specialized trainers and they want to start them young. I tell you, my baby boy, my sweet potato baby.
Oh gosh,
he's my sweet potato. He's
you cannot call that young fella sweet potato. Being 6'4", what, what is he now? 6'6" and 300 and what?
24.
Come on now.
Size 15 and a half.
Oh, man.
He is 16 years old, and he's going to always be my sweet potato.
Oh, my God.
But as you can imagine, if you have a 16-year-old who hasn't even really gone through his growth spurts yet, I'm expecting by the end of this summer, he might be 9 feet tall. Who knows? The summer stomach that he's using, I don't know. But as you can imagine, he's always been a big kid. And I can clearly remember coaches hounding us down to get my baby in pads when he was 4 years old. I was like, no way in the world. He needs to be tripping over his own shoelaces and snatching a little, flag off somebody. But they trying to get my baby in full-on pads, football pads, at 4 years old. But that's the pressure, right? Some of these kids and some of these parents are feeling, because you want your kids to experience that level of success, and you want them to, get the best of. Every parent wants the best of for their child, but what does it mean for the kid, and what does it mean for the sport, especially when they're tapping out?
Yeah, they're tapping out that early. They even say that number goes up to 70% when they get to age 13. So,
wow.
We got, the majority of the kids, not participating in sports, and then there's also some research out there also is that young people who peak in athletics, maybe go on to college, that when they are seniors, meaning not senior in high school, but as we call them in the Y, active older adults, they have stopped, participating in exercise, at that point right there.
Wow.
And so when you take a look at that, because part of it, I know for me, it was, I worked out to play football.
Right.
And then when I got out of college, it was just like,
I ain't playing football.
Right. So why should I work out? So let me try to work out. And then it just became a roller coaster ride, right? It became this health seeker, 3 months in, 2 months out.
But I ain't playing, so
right. Then as I done got of age, now I understand that, okay, I'm trying to stay around just for a little while longer.
That's why you back in the
Hey, back in the gym hitting it.
Okay.
My personal trainer, I'm gonna give him a shout out. My man David. He around there, boy. He about to put me 6 feet under.
Listen, I like that David because he sufficiently jacks you up every week, and I'm here for it.
And just has So I'm gonna give a shout out to David. If you don't have a personal trainer, you know what? I consider doing that. But also, I mean, if you want your child to excel, also, you probably have to make that investment.
You absolutely do. So I'm going to tell you, my sweet potato baby, and this is different than his brother and sister because, like I said, the sports keep evolving. Not only does he have like a specialized team and a special trainer and the skills trainer, that is what they usually call him, the skills trainer. This gentleman, this little joker, has his own stretch training. So I literally have to pay for this young man to go to a stretch trainer once a week, and all she does is literally stretching. Like you push your leg this way, and you push your arm that way, and
that's a whole lot of body that need to be limber.
With shoes, I could be buying with. You feel me on this? Do you know what shoes are not getting into my collection because of the sacrifices I'm making?
Yes, and that's why you're a great parent.
Thank you. I appreciate it. I feel seen. But yes, and that's new. Like even when I told his brother and sister that they were asking where he was one day, I was like, oh, he's with his stretch coach. They're like, what?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. What? And they're not far. Like all of my kids are pretty clumped together, so they're not far apart. They're not that much older. They was like, oh, so is this because he's the baby? Is this what we're doing now? Like, what's the stretch? I was like, that's what they said he needed.
And so when we take a look at YMCAs and what we have to offer, I think one of the things that we do well is, especially in particular with the younger kids, I think all of our Ys should take on this philosophy of let's dominate the elementary recreational sport.
Absolutely. Before they get burnt out and leave by middle school at 13.
Because what we're able to pour into them looks a little bit different. So I don't think overall the YMCA, we are going to raise the next Michael Jordans all the time. Some are going to come through the program, and we have many Ys around the country that have great relationships with professional athletes because that's where their start was with the Y. But, for the Y, it is going back to those very fundamentals. We start off talking about there's no I in team. And so how do we emphasize that? And I think it's through our character development. So when we talk about the caring, honesty, respect, and responsibility, how can we pour those values into those young people so that, if they do go on to be the next Michael Jordan, it is with their character in mind, and not just, I'm going out here to be all about me.
Which, I hope people don't undervalue that because, coaches on the collegiate level, and from what I can see and tell, even on a professional level, the way owners and stuff have to backpedal and keep whole teams in place for uncharacteristic behaviors, right? Coaches on that collegiate level, there are many times that a student can come across that clearly, no doubt, has the physical ability to be a top performer. But if they come with the baggage of other shenanigans from not making good choices and not having the greatest character, they will pass those young people by. And that's a missed opportunity for that young person who has worked so hard to get there because we didn't focus as much on those things as we did on here's the dribble, here's the throw, here's the, you know what I'm saying? And so the YMCA absolutely is uniquely positioned to, number one, keep the fun in the game, to build that love of the sport that hopefully carries that student past the 11 and 12 when they feel like, no mas, I'm done. Like they love the sport, they love and understand this team connection so much that perhaps it carries them through, and it can really help set that foundational character development, that part of sports that unfortunately it's starting to go missing.
Right, because if you embed that in early in life, when they become the middle school or the high school or the college or the professional, that's gonna be there. So somebody has to walk along, and also just helping young folks to be able to understand that. Recently, I had the opportunity to talk to this young fellow who's going off to college on a full track scholarship, and he had an incident that I said, the 2 minutes of you being frustrated could cost you for a lifetime.
Wow.
So, and we walked through this exercise. I said, so what would happen if, you were to beat up someone? And he said, well, I would get my frustration out. I said, okay. So as a result of you getting your frustrations out, you beat up somebody. What do you think the consequences behind that could be? I could potentially go to jail. I could, get my scholarship taken away from it. I said, okay. So if you were to get your scholarship taken away or you were to go to jail, how do you think that would impact your life? I may be broke. I won't have any money. I said, right. I said, we can go on and on and on for 2 minutes of frustration.
Right. That you got your frustrations out. Was it worth it?
It wasn't worth it.
Wasn't worth it.
And so this was a young man that he's had some curveballs thrown to him in his life. I said, but you know what? You're still not at the bottom because you have a full scholarship.
Full ride scholarship
that can change whatever you want to do in life.
Yeah. So, and even with the name, image, likeness stuff, right?
Exactly.
You actually start reaping the benefits of that in college, whereas before, college athletes basically had to wait till after college or go pro or semi-pro to start getting any kind of compensation.
You're right.
Any revenue was being driven your way. But now, heck, you can be a high schooler, you could be in college, and if they're using your name, your image, or your likeness to promote that sport, you get a little bit of change. So, sir, your money-making ability
is today. Like if you begin to focus on, I said, also, even if you're the greatest of the great, hey, you only can do that till about 36, 38, even if you're lucky, even like Tom Brady, you go to 44.
Tom Brady is a freak of nature.
Yeah.
That man is an anomaly.
That is true.
That is not normal.
But there's still a whole long life after that point right there.
Right.
And so like you can't make these, these bad decisions early on.
Yeah.
And so YMCAs need to step up to the plate even more so to really emphasize character development.
Yeah. I love it. And then, another one of the things that you hear so many times from young people in sports, which I can't imagine is not the number one contributing factor to why they are quitting so early. They are just leaving. It's really stressful and it's not enough fun. If we don't know how to do anything else in Y sports, we know how to have fun. Right?
Make it fun, baby. Make it fun. Make it fun.
Just little kids who run around in clumps all over the soccer field because they don't know where they're going. Let them clump.
Let them clump.
It's fun.
Let them clump.
I will tell you, all of my babies, and they managed to be okay. Every last one of them, when they was playing sports, they only played for the snacks at the end of the game.
That's what if you're a parent, make sure the baby have great snacks.
And let me tell you, what worked on my youngest, who is the biggest, because he's been an eater all his life. You let him peek at what that snack gonna be. Oh, that's motivation. He said, we gonna get pops.
But you got to play hard. Okay, hands down.
I'm gonna get this goal today because I want 2 popsicles.
But there's some parents out there. They ask the question of, well, how can I get them involved with my child? I've never been an athlete. So So I wasn't a soccer player at all.
Oh, I remember this phase.
But I coached me some soccer.
I remember when you was that soccer coach. First of all, I hope you wasn't stressing the kids because I remember you were stressed out about this soccer.
No. So my philosophy always been is that I want to try to find out what's your best part. What can you do?
Okay.
And so if you can run fast, okay, fine. I'm gonna utilize that right there. If you could kick, well, I'm gonna utilize that right there. And so the combinations of all the players and their strong suits, like we put that together, we play, and I'm cheering on. I'm saying, go, Rodrigo. Go, Rodrigo, you go, girl, you go. I'm the biggest cheerleader on the sideline. So parents who, even though that's not your sport, doesn't mean that you can't coach that.
Right.
And there comes a certain place when you're talking about getting up to the 8 and 9 and 10-year-old, it's a little bit more specialized.
Coaches for that.
Right. But at the younger group, parents, absolutely, you should jump in there and be a coach because one, all youth sports programs have volunteers.
And they need them.
And I don't care if you go play for the rec league, I don't care if you play for the Y. All the coaches are volunteer. They're not getting paid.
Right.
And so they need someone to participate with your child. Now you can do that. Now you're already just sitting in the car anyway at practice. Why not come out there and coach?
But sometimes you need that minute in the car.
I'm not mad at that. Now I'm not mad at you. But we can do something.
You volunteer to be the snack mom. Like, I'm gonna come in, I'm gonna make sure I put out all the snacks and all the bags is cute. And as soon as them babies, I'm gonna come in, I'm gonna be the person. As soon as they come to the sidelines, they got a fresh cup of water.
Yes.
I'm cheering them.
Yes.
There is always a positive role,
right,
for parents to play, because unfortunately, what we're seeing an increase of at many of our sporting events, even in YMCA, is parents and sometimes officials not using their best sportsmanlike behavior.
Right. Parent on the sideline and don't even know the game. And you want to. I want to say fuss, but
they doing more than fuss.
They're doing more than fuss at the referee.
But the thing is, they're getting into these really heated exchanges, these battles, these going back and forth. The baby is 4.
What are we talking about?
What is happening?
What are we talking about?
Did the baby play? Did they look like they was having a good time, or no harm, no foul?
Because at that point, the parent want to put the eye on them.
Right. And then my kid,
I paid
my kid, and
I paid my money. I want my child baby,
you should have been the coach.
Did your child can only do what they can do out there?
And your child came up to me and said, "Take me out, coach. I'm tired." The child, "Take me out, coach." But I want my kid playing. There are more than just your kids on the team. Everyone, and at that little age, everyone is getting a chance to play. We don't have no team stars. Nobody is matriculated to professional sports from a 4, 5, or 6-year-old team. What you're saying? I bet a paycheck. That's not going to happen.
I made a mistake getting certified to be a soccer referee. And I had this parent come up to me with his iPad. I saw you. I got you on tape here. You made the wrong call.
Sir?
This only $12, and I don't have to do this. I'm just out here because that's what we're talking about.
Was the baby smiling? Did they have a good time? Okay. Okay.
We got to be able to put some type of standards in place for the parents. Like, hey, parents, like you stressing the kid out when you do that. Don't think that you are doing your child a favor and fussing at the coach or fussing at the referee. Like, let that child play. And if your child has that ability or not. Come on now.
The reality is no one is telling parents not to advocate for your child.
Correct.
Right? Because that is what you're
correct.
But there is a difference, and there is a preferred and a quote unquote right way to do that, and then a not preferred, because the reality is that these babies are sponging that up and they're seeing, and even subconsciously they're learning that that's the way to solve conflict.
Right. Right.
And when those kinds of behaviors rear up in other places, or even in sports later on down the line, it's some unfortunately so badly that coaches don't even want to deal with the kid. Right. Or I've had coaches who don't want to deal with the kid because their parents are so. Now you're cutting off your child's ability to be on a team and play and have fun and perhaps build the skills to go on and do something at a higher level because of your behavior.
But then it also takes into consideration that if your child has a bad experience participating as a young person, as they get older in life, they may not even want to exercise altogether because they've been kind of have PTSD in a sense.
Right.
So parents, we talk about having this creed that the kids have to read out, before the game.
Yeah.
We probably need a parent creed. Like, parents, come to the center and we're going to say this all together.
You know what? I had, when my baby girl was playing. So my baby girl played college basketball. She went to school playing college basketball, but that wasn't her only sport. She didn't really land on basketball until she was in the 9th grade.
Okay.
Before that, she played soccer. She played hockey for years. She did MMA, and she wanted to play football, but I was like, look, no, we're going to draw the line somewhere, right? So I remember when she was in MMA, right? They used to have these tournaments and they had to show their skills and they had to do this. And sometimes they had to compete or whatever the case. And MMA is mixed martial arts.
Yes.
And there was a girl, and they had a team that would go and compete against other teams and that. And there was this little girl on the team who every time we had to go to a tournament or go to an exhibition or something, she would always ask, can I ride with you? So the first couple of times, sure, cute little girl. Let's all go together, whatever the case may be. And I figured it was because, I get it. Her parents, she was, it was just her and her mom, single mom. Maybe mom is really busy. She had to work or whatever. No harm, no foul. But as it kept going, I just asking one day, like, hey, is your mom working? You want me to take pictures? You want me? She was like, well, no, she's not working. And I was like, oh, well, she probably had something else to do. No, she's not busy. She at the house. Well, baby girl, not that you can't ride with us. I don't mind. Well, why didn't you ask her? She was like, because every time we go to a thing, my mom embarrasses me. She always fussing at people. She always gets in fights. And when I thought about it, I do remember a tournament where literally the police had to be called because this mom got into a physical fist fight with another parent because the call, she didn't like the referee call that they made on a hold or something in the exhibition or whatever. And the little girl was embarrassed. And from that point forward, she always made it her business to ask other people to take her because she loved the sport. Wow. She just didn't want her mom there. And so I was tasked with, do I tell the mom that or what? And what I want to know as a parent. So eventually I got my courage up and I made sure I had sneakers on because we know she liked to fight, right? We already established that. So I had to talk to mom and you could see instantly, like, her whole demeanor was like, oh my goodness, I can't believe. And I left it alone in that moment. And I guess they figured it out because The little girl moved on to another team, but I just really hope that in that moment, I could literally see the light bulb go off for her, that she realized that behavior absolutely impacted your child's love for the sport and she didn't even want you there anymore.
But you take that example. We know that as Y staff, we know that. And so like, what are we doing about it? Like we have to we can't change the individual makes their own decision to be able to change, but we can definitely put in some measures that help encourage some positivity. They go, hey parents, let parents know, because some parents don't know that they're doing it. They just think that that's the way to motivate their quote unquote motivate their child. And it don't work like that all the time. I mean, you gotta know your child. Sure. And if your child say you're embarrassing them, check that. Now, because with my kids, I was the loudest one at the game. You know, my baby girl, when I remember she was in middle school basketball, don't know more than about 10 people go to middle school girls game. No. And I'm out there, go Kiara. And
you're the only one she can hear that you.
Yeah, but the parents would turn around. Can you coach my daughter like that too?
Like, say that baby name, coach. Say that baby name.
But it was always in a positive way.
Yeah.
Good job. I mean, because but from the parent side of it, I always wanted my child to know that I was there.
Right.
I remember playing college football. I can look into the crowd of 12,000 in that stadium, and my mom could sit somewhere every game. I could always find my mother.
And you think that's why I got that suspension from my baby? He found me. How he know I called him sweet potato?
Probably so, because the young fella is 6'6", 320 pounds. That ain't no sweet potato. Yeah. He more potato than a sweet potato.
He a little potato. He a little potato. You're right. But that is so very true. And I don't know. Perhaps as a YMCA, would we consider thinking out of the box and adding modules and learnings and opportunities for parents, right? Around, not only can you put your child in our youth sports, but you as a parent can develop in that space and learn some things and understand some things and all that. Like, who's to say we can't do that? Like, we're the why. We can do it.
So let's change the game, why folks. I think we can do this. Let's find this way of, making sure we're taking this out of team. And that is for the child end of things, and that is for the parent end of things also. That parent has to know that it's not about you, parent. It is your child, that is playing. So that you got to take out of there.
I love it. So we can maybe help change the landscape of professional and high level elite sports, which some people may say it could use some refreshing in a positive way, right?
And I'm going to say that the Y needs to dominate the space. Educational, recreational space for sports.
For youngers.
We got to.
I love it.
Hey, but look, before we sign off here, want to give props to our producer, Miss Lachey Leonard, for always making us sound so great.
She's so amazing. And thank you for listening to the CAUSENETIC podcast.
On this episode called There's No I in Team.
Subscribe and listen to us weekly.
Hey, and don't be shy, give us a 5-star review.
And as always,
be dynamic,
be phenomenal,
and be CAUSENETIC.